What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some minor updates today with the Xavien Howard situation. Obviously, we're still in that part of the offseason where it's pretty quiet. There's not really a super lot going on, but we're, I think, just under 2 weeks until training camp, so things are going to speed up really fast once we get there. Obviously, because then there's going to be, news for training camp, media, and fans are going to be allowed to go. So there's going to be plenty of news and stuff to talk about. Frankly, as far as you guys know, I don't really give two shits about training camp. I mean, it's good contextual information, and it does help to form the picture. I'm not saying I don't give a shit about it as in, like, I don't exclude it, or as in if I exclude it from my evaluations. I don't. It's obviously good information. What I mean is it doesn't really mean anything yet, right? Like, and especially because how many times have we heard hype, from training camp, and then you don't get that during the season, et cetera, for whatever reason. So, and I mentioned this a couple times, the thing I'm most excited for next is the preseason games, but those are going to be coming up super quick, not long after training camp starts. So just a couple weeks after training camp starts, or like 2.5 weeks, something like that. Anyway, so still kind of in the quiet times, but there are a couple reports out, one from yesterday and then one from today that I want to discuss. And so let's get right into it. The first one comes from yesterday. Xavien Howard takes cryptic shot at Miami Dolphins via social media. Miami Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard took a cryptic shot at the Dolphins organization with his Instagram story on Tuesday. Just posting, a text message on his Instagram that says, "They won't realize how big a part you play until you're not there to play it no mo." Howard, 28, has been holding out for Miami's offseason program as he is in search of a new contract. The former second-round pick had a huge season in 2020. He intercepted 10 passes and recorded 20 passes defensed, which both led the league. Real quick, let's also throw in that he has more interceptions over the past few years than anybody else, even though he's missed games and some of those players haven't, with 22. I'll actually read you the full stats there in a minute when I get to some comments from fans in the Bleacher Report stream. And he also hasn't let up a deep ball touchdown since 2017, right? And in fact has 7 interceptions and only allowed 4 receptions on those deep balls. So he's clear, he's clearing away the best cornerback in the league as far as I'm concerned. I don't really think it's even much of a contest. Jalen Ramsey, is great or whatever. And there are some other really good, Stephon Gilmore is great, whatever. But Xavien Howard is a boss. He is, and it's undeniable. Yes, okay, he's missed some time, but it hasn't really been that big of a deal, right? And when he's on the field, he balls unquestionably. So he's a god on the field when he's there. So anyway, Howard was named All-Pro for the first time in his career. Now he wants his contract to reflect his play. Dolphins have not budged on a new deal for Howard yet, as he signed a 5-year deal with the team that kicked in last season. Howard's post seems to signal there that he is willing to hold out until Miami realizes how much it needs him on defense. The Dolphins are looking to improve on a 10-6 campaign in 2020. But that will be hard to do if Howard isn't with the team by week 1, which is absolutely the case. As you guys know, I think that I've been predicting that they're going to go 6-11. That was with Xavien Howard on the team. If they lose Xavien Howard, which they're going to lose Xavien Howard, he's not going to play on the Miami Dolphins this upcoming season. But when they lose Xavien Howard, there's a real good possibility that they don't even win 6 games. And, if they win 6 games, or if they win less than 6 games, I'm telling you, Brian Flores and Chris Greer are not going to be here. Now, I want to mention a couple quick things, right? So, a couple quick misconceptions, I think. First of which is what Xavien Howard wants. I think that the, Byron Jones signing and how the Dolphins fucked up the market, fucked up their own cap space, and paid a guy way more money than what he's worth based off of his skill set and his production, et cetera, and his projections for performance in the future based off of previous performance. I think that's a huge part of it. right? He doesn't like the fact that he's not even the highest paid corner on his team. But after having such a baller year, he wants to be the highest paid corner in the league. It's not just that he wants more guaranteed money or whatever. And it's not just that he wants to be paid higher than Byron Jones and have a higher annual salary. He wants all those things. But he will get all those things by getting top cornerback money, right? By being paid as the best cornerback in the league by whichever team's going to pay him, he will get all of those things. He will get his guaranteed money, he will get his average salary, and he will be paid more than Byron Jones. So all of those things will be accomplished by that. That's the first misconception that I think people have is what Xavien Howard wants. Then the next one is, you know, how long is this holdout gonna go, right? And so some people think, well, he'll show up to training camp and blah, blah, blah. If I'm being honest, I think I do honestly think he will be willing to hold out as long as it takes, even if that means going into the season. I don't know. It is hard to say, obviously, and he certainly would be losing a lot of money. He'll lose a good amount of money in training camp, and he'll lose even more money going into the season if that were to happen. However, I don't think it's going to take that long. Ultimately, I think that he will do it, and then the Dolphins will end up trading him. I think he's going to even, I've been saying that I think that it's going to happen before training camp because that's really honestly what makes the most sense. It honestly makes the most sense for both sides. I mean, at this point, it seems pretty clear that there is no way the Dolphins are going to be able to repair this relationship because they're just not willing to give him the money. They can't because of how bad they fucked up their own cap space and stuff like that, but they're also not willing to do it. So, which is going to be a giant, giant mistake on their part. Also, real quick, I want to mention that anybody who is hating on Xavien Howard for, trying to get his money, etc., 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 like, I got really nothing to say to clowns like that. Because it's absolutely stupid. I mean, there's the argument of, well, what if you were doing a job and one of your coworkers was doing a worse job than you but got paid more? You'd obviously want to get paid more than that person too because you're doing a better job. So, like, get the fuck out of here. And the most important thing, though, is it's not the motherfucking executives or the front office or even the coaching staff, even if they were previous players, who are on the field. It's the players themselves who are sacrificing their body. So I don't give a fuck what anybody says. They should always take every opportunity to get as much money out of them as they absolutely fucking can. Especially because these teams, these owners, and the NFL have billions, if not trillions of dollars. I'm pretty sure they can fucking spare a few million. So there is literally no argument on the other side of it. Xavien Howard is 100% in the right, and he should absolutely do this, right? It's the Dolphins' fault for putting themselves in this situation to begin with, again, by fucking up their cap space, by screwing up the quarterback market and paying a dude more money than X when they absolutely shouldn't have done that. So it's 100% their fault, and they're the ones that are going to fuck all this up, and they're the ones that are going to pay. So fuck anybody who says Xavien Howard's just being a baby or not being a team player or any of that dumbass bullshit. You can eat my ass because no, he's doing what he should be doing. And so I don't know. Fuck all that. It's just people are stupid, and I have literally no time for people like that. And again, he's putting his body on the line. He only has, probably a couple more or so years of his prime. Why would he not try and get as much? Anyway, whatever. Like I said, I ain't got shit to say to those fucking clowns, so it is what it is. But, and so in the grand scheme of things, this report will probably be, one of the smaller factors in the grand scheme of things, but it is, potentially a foreshadowing, right? And so, it does add to the context and to the information that would lead you to believe that he will hold out as long as necessary. Now, again, I think it's going to come to a head before that because it's really in the best interest of both Both. Xavien Howard wants to get with his new team. He wants to get his contract as soon as possible. Both sides want to get this drama over with. It will be a distraction in camp. Since the Dolphins know that they're not going to be able to keep him, why just keep him around and let him sit there, right? They're going to want to try and get something for him. By the way, they're also going to get fleeced. I can virtually guarantee it, because they almost always get fleeced in their trades. The Dolphins are terrible at trading. Anyway, at least have been the past couple years for sure, under the current power structure. So, you know, it's a mess. Anyway, let's get to the next article though, because this actually talks a little bit more about teams that are looking to trade for Xavien Howard. So, Xavien Howard trade rumors, several teams interested amid Dolphins contract dispute. The NFL's reigning interception leader could eventually be on the move. On Wednesday, Michael Silver of NFL Network reported Miami Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard is unhappy with the 5-year $75.25 million contract extension he signed 2 years ago, and is looking for a new deal after he led the league with 10 interceptions in 2020. In light of that, several teams, all in win-now mode, are pondering trading for him. Silver suggested the Dolphins would require at least a first-round pick in such a move, and any team who trades for him would also need to be willing to pay him. Silver also noted Howard may hold out of training camp if he is not traded or signed to a new deal, especially after he already skipped the offseason program. Holding out of training camp would result in fines of $50,000 a day. That's actually not even as bad as I thought it would be, especially because it's only a few weeks, and he has millions. So having that information now on my plate, that it's only $50,000 a day, I have little to no doubt that he would be willing to hold out all of training camp. And see, and that's the thing, right? And that's the thing, because if it gets to training camp and he does hold out, dude, it's going to be a huge story, right? And it's going to be a distraction. It's going to be, you know, so like I said, I think it's honestly in the best interest of both parties to get this done before training camp, and certainly makes the most sense overall. It just sucks because they can't afford to lose Xavien Howard. I'm telling you, man, this Dolphins team is going to come crashing down this season. And I thought that before, you know, this whole Xavien Howard drama came up, but losing Xavien Howard is going to be the nail in the Dolphins' coffin for this season. Howard is among the best corners in the league and is just 28 years old, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see a team in need of secondary help make a move. He is a two-time Pro Bowler who also led the league with 7 interceptions during the 2018 campaign. While he played just 5 games in 19, he wasted little time reestablishing himself as a top-notch playmaker in 2020. The Baylor product finished the season with 51 tackles and NFL best 20 passes defended to go with his interception total. Pro Football Focus gave him an impressive overall player grade of 87.3 for his efforts, and his presence was a major reason the Dolphins finished with a winning record for the first time since 2016 at 10-6. He was definitely a third of the overall defense, at least, just statistically, but he was the heart and soul of that defense, and, you know, pretty much the entire team last year. So especially with the way everybody was praising the defense and how they're carrying this team to 10 wins, blah 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 blah. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a disaster for this organization. Next up is a potential playoff run for the first time since that 2016 season, but it may prove difficult without Howard anchoring the secondary. How the situation unfolds in the coming weeks will be key for Miami's defense as it looks to build on last year's turnaround. So, yeah. I'm telling you, man, I've been telling y'all this, and people want to fucking just hate on me and tell me that I'm just a hater, which is ironic. They hate on me for telling the truth, the honest truth, being real about it all, not excluding any data or information whatsoever, and giving you the full picture unbiased, but I'm the hater. Okay, well, people are gonna look, I've dealt with this my entire life. I've always been the kind of person, and look, I didn't used to be as, you know, aggressive and, you know, whatever as I am today. I'm just tired of it, because for my entire life, I've always been, you know, the hardworking, generous, helpful, kind, you know, Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Nice Guy kind of person who just wants to fucking help people avoid terrible, terrible things that are coming to them And I'm capable of seeing it coming. And, you know, you don't know me, none of you know me, but there have been a million times in my life with friends, family, whatever, where I've told people, look, bro, this is how things are going to turn out if you keep going down this path. And I'm almost always correct when it comes to my big picture evaluation. I'm quite often, in fact, wrong about the, you know, some of the details, but I'm almost always correct about the big picture evaluation and how things are going to turn out at the end of the day. And guess what? The only thing that ever happens is nobody listens. People turn me into the asshole and act like I'm the bad guy, and then they prove me right. So, you know, we'll see. Again, and I've said this a million times, I hope that they prove me wrong, but I'm telling you, bro, this shit is going to come crashing down this season, and it's going to be fucking terrible. So, real quick, I did want to jump into I was actually surprised to see that most of the fan comments in the stream today were actually supportive of them paying Xavien Howard. But let's see, real quick. Most interceptions since 2018. Xavien Howard has 22. The next highest is Kevin Byard with 18. So he's got 4 more interceptions since 2018 than the next closest person, even though he's played less games than a lot of these guys, than Kevin Byard, J.C. Jackson, Marcus Peters, Harrison Smith, Tre'Davious White, Tyrann Mathieu, and Darius Slay. Right? So, I mean, it's unquestionable, dude. He is the best. But I wanted to read this one post. This dude says, for people that don't think we have money to pay X, we actually don't. I mean, to be clear, there's almost always a way that you can find to, you know, manipulate the cap space to make it work. But we don't have money to pay him the kind of money that he wants, because they fucked up their cap space by paying Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Shaq Lawson, Eric Flowers, Jordan Howard, all those guys from last offseason. So again, no matter how you slice it, the situation that they're in right now is their own fault. But this is what he goes on to say. You do understand whatever they choose to give him won't affect the cap this year, right? That's not really the point. The point is that even while that may be true, the way that would be true is if they gave him a contract extension. In this case, they probably, since he's currently in the middle of a brand new contract extension, it's probably going to have to be an entirely new contract, which means that there is some chance that it would actually affect the cap this year. But even if that was the case, it's not really the point. The point is that they don't have the money because, you know, they're hoping, and Dougley Durong has talked about this, they're expected to have 50 to 60 million in cap space next year. But that's not going to be the case, and it wouldn't be the case if they had to pay Xavien Howard with the new Jerome Baker, if they decide to pay Agba, if they decide to pay Gesicki, right? Or any of these players that are coming up on contracts this upcoming season. They won't have that money if they dish it out, right? So that's not totally accurate, but that's not the point of me reading this. The man just wants more guaranteed money. Again, not totally accurate as far as I'm concerned. I think he wants the big contract. He wants to be paid as the number 1 corner. Again, not the point of why I'm reading this though. To secure his financial future instead of being used up and thrown to the wolves like most NFL teams do quite too often. Which is absolutely true. And that's another thing I forgot to mention before about the, you know, people who are hating on Xavien Howard. Teams do this shit all the time. So if you want to side with the corporate fucking business side of shit, the capitalistic money side of it, I'm sorry, you can fuck off, because you're a piece of shit person and you obviously care more about the, you know, capitalism and the money and the markets and keeping the economy going. You're probably more one of those kind of people than, you know, the care about people kind of people. So you can fuck off as far as I'm concerned, because you're a piece of shit. So for anybody who is on the, you know, Xavien Howard's being a crybaby and not a team player and blah, 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 being a bitch or whatever fucking stupid shit people want to say. Anyway, so at 28, after a superb season, this is literally his only shot at getting the most out of his value. For people, and I'm sorry, one more quick thing on that. That's absolutely right. So on the same, like a lot of those same fans that are hating on Xavien Howard and saying we need to trade him, they will acknowledge that his value couldn't be any higher right now. So we have to trade him so that way we can get the absolute most for him. But if you believe that's the case, why wouldn't you believe that his value is the highest that it's ever going to be probably? So why wouldn't he try and cash in? If you think the team should try and cash in and get the most that they should, why would you then think that it doesn't make sense for him to try and do the exact same thing? Oh, right, because you just want to side with the motherfucking corporate side of things. And anyway, whatever. I've said enough about that. For people that's always throwing around the term, it's business, y'all sure don't know shit about it. Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely, right? And honestly, though, a lot of those people that are, you know, the just business side of it, again, are just scumbags who care more about money, the markets, that type of thing. Capitalism, who are, you know, capitalism supporters. Capitalism can never exist in a fair and equitable way. It's a system literally designed that's predicated around inequality and injustice. But okay, whatever. So yeah. Get your money while you can, because in 2 years it's going to be slim pickings, right? So it's absolutely correct. And look, bro, at the end of the day, going back to what Howard had to say, when this blows up and they end up having to trade him, it's going to be the Dolphins who suffer. I promise you that. Because whichever team Xavien Howard goes to, unless he has an injury that makes him miss the entire year, he's going to fucking ball out for whichever team he goes to. Even if he played, you know, 10 games and missed the last 7, or missed 7 somewhere along the way in the season, guess what? He's gonna ball the fuck out for those 10 games and get a bunch of interceptions. So, you know, whatever, dude. People are clowns. And I'm telling you, I've been saying this for fucking 3 years now. Okay? Not specifically to the Xavien Howard situation, but although I have been previewing this Xavien Howard situation actually for quite some time now as well. But not just that. Dude, I'm telling you, this Dolphins team, nothing about it is going to work. They're way too risky. They reach on players. They love to take players with significant injury histories. They're terrible at drafting, terrible at player evaluation, terrible at development, terrible at coach evaluation and development. And then you add in the fact that there's all this other drama behind the scenes that's been coming out recently. And look, bro, again, anybody who says that Brian Flores is not trying to emulate and replicate Bill Belichick and the Patriots is a moron, because all of the data, every single data point that exists, proves the contrary. So anybody who believes that is living in a false fantasy world. And that's another reason why it's not going to work. You know why? Because it never has. It never has. There has never been a time, there is actually one minor exception, where a Bill Belichick disciple has succeeded elsewhere. You can go down the list. Every one of them except one has failed where they have gone. And that one is Mike Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans. And that's because he isn't trying to replicate Bill Belichick and the Patriots and what they do. He's not trying to recreate the Patriots way, the Patriots culture, etc., etc., etc. Brian Flores is, and that's another reason. I've been telling you guys this from Jump Street. Not to mention the philosophy of tanking that he adopted from Jump and in 2019. It wasted the first year of his 5-year thing. Stephen Ross is fucking old and desperate and only getting more desperate and has an MO of firing his coaches after 3 to 3.5 years. And the whole point and principle behind tanking is to tear down immediately so that way you can build up fast. And again, right after he fired Stephen Ross fired Adam Gase, he said, I hope it doesn't take 1, 2, 3 years, but we want to build a sustainable thing. I'm telling you, bro, when it comes crashing down this year, Flores and Greer are gone, and Stephen Ross is going to hit the motherfucking reset button again, and the Dolphins fan base is going to lose their shit. And the reason why is because they refuse to listen to somebody like me who was telling them about this. Not because I'm a hater or a fake fan. No, it's actually because I am a super fan of my team. and I want to see them do the right things, and I'm not going to just sit here and blindly follow them when I see what they are doing is going to be catastrophically wrong for this team and for this franchise. So, again, and I'll say this for like the fucking 70 millionth time, I hope that they prove me wrong, but all of the data points to me being proven correct, and we are not that far off. Training camp is, under 2 weeks away. The preseason is going to be right on its heels, and then next thing you know, September's going to be here, and we're going to be in the middle of the season. We're going to be facing New England in fucking New England, and they're going to start rattling off losses, and then everybody's going to shit the fucking bed, and it's going to implode. Anyway, so I hope I'm wrong. I want them to prove me wrong, but we're not very far off from seeing which way it goes. And again, it's really not, this is the final comment here that I'll make in this video, is that it's not gonna, there's only really one of two ways that it can go. Either they meet expectations or they don't. If they do not meet the expectations, going back to Stephen Ross's comment of, I hope it doesn't take 1, 2, 3 years. This is year 3. If they don't meet his expectations, fuck what fans have. I mean, the fans' expectations are outrageous for Tua and for this team, thinking that he's going to be in like a Pro Bowler, all pro, he's going to ball out and take over the league, and the Dolphins are going to go to Super Bowl. Those expectations are absurd, but they don't matter. The only expectations that matter are Stephen Ross's. Now, Stephen Ross's expectations, without knowing the dude personally and having talked to him, I would say that the expectations are, at a minimum, 10 plus wins, compete within your division, and at least make it to the playoffs. So, I'm telling you, if that does not happen, even if they won 8 or 9 games, it's not going to be enough for Stephen Ross. And if that happens, if they win 8 or 9 games and even, exceed my expectations, right, and win more games than I think that they're going to win, remember, because I think that they're only going to win up to 6. Even if they exceed my expectations and win 8 or 9 games, but they don't have a 10 plus win season, compete within their division, and make it to the playoffs, Stephen Ross is not going to work or settle for that. He's going to change things. I promise you, okay? And then the Dolphins fan base is going to fucking lose it and shit themselves, and their heads are going to explode, etc., etc. But I'm telling you, man, you could have been listening to me this entire time. Look, even as just a sideshow, right? As maybe you listen to Doug and K Flexin and On the Phins side and blah 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 blah, all these other shows because you like their more flowery approach and their blowing smoke up your ass approach, whatever, and just only ever really talk about the good shit. And even when they do talk about the bad shit, they try and spin it into some way about how it's either really not that important or they're gonna overcome it or whatever the fuck. Right, you could have just had me on the side just so that way you could have your bets hedged. But most people don't even want to hear it because they just want to live in their own fantasy worlds. So you could have been listening to me the whole time, and you could have been fucking prepared, and your heart won't be ripped out at the end of this year when things go into the fucking can and Flores and Greer get fired. But the vast majority of people decided, no, I don't like this guy. I don't want to listen to him because he's saying things that, man, I'm just not comfortable with. So I'm going to hate on him, I'm going to hate on his show, and I'm going to leave him to be in obscurity. And so it is what it is, bro. People are going to prove me right, and then we're going to be here at the end of the day. And yeah, I'm absolutely going to say I told you so. You know why? Because I did. Because I did. It's not that I want to be right or that, I find some sort of personal satisfaction in my team losing. No, it sucks tremendously for me. But I'm going to say I was right because I fucking told you guys, and I foreshadowed this for you. And again, a lot of heartache could be saved if you at least would have prepared yourself for it, right? So anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.